Okay, so now I've got this recorded, so I'll share it with folks. So again, my name is Erin. I'm the VISTA Program Manager. I think I'm going to go ahead and get started, and people can join as they're able. Thanks for I was going to say for coming today, but for joining me today. This is, I'm calling this the final pre-VISTA webinar, and we'll certainly be in touch as your VISTA comes onto your site, but this is just some last-minute information that I think will really help you as you prepare for your VISTA. Also cover some information that I've covered in the past, just as a big overview. I'm not going to dwell on any of the information that I've shared before, but just kind of touching on some big, important Supervisor and VISTA bullet points. And let me share my screen with you. So pull up this PowerPoint, and we'll get started. Oh, another note is that I muted everyone, but you are able to unmute yourself, and you can also send a little chat if you have a question. But again, you can certainly unmute yourself. Okay, so I think everyone right now can see the PowerPoint. Let me know if that's not true. And I'm going to go ahead and get started. Okay, so again, these are folks on the line are people who have a July 25th VISTA that's coming up next week. Holy cow. And then also our August 22nd starts. Okay, so an overview. Hopefully you all are familiar with Montana Campus Compact. That's where I work. That's where your VISTA. Their title is going to be Montana Campus Compact VISTA serving with your site. So as an overview, we're a statewide coalition of colleges and universities who are committed to addressing community needs to the resources of higher education. So we place VISTAs in campuses and in communities, and we have those VISTAs utilize the resources of higher education to address poverty and to bring people out of poverty. And that's it there. Okay, so another reminder that I think this is a helpful reminder. VISTAs are not, we're not hiring VISTAs. They're not employees. They're national service members. They're there to develop the capacity of your program and to work more behind the scenes. We recruit VISTAs rather than hire them. And they're not there to answer phones or file paperwork. They're there to develop training materials, recruit volunteers, cultivate partnerships, help with fundraising efforts, etc. Okay, whipping through here. This was a slide that was in our Jackie and Anna of the state office. They led an orientation in mid-June. But I think it's helpful. I'm going to go through it one more time quickly. So AmeriCorps is big and expansive. Really, the part that we care about is the part in that blue circle in the middle there. I wish I had a little laser that I could point to, but you see it. It's the VISTA bubble there, and below that is the state office. So I just mentioned that state office, they had a webinar where they talked about your upcoming service term with your VISTA and some helpful supervisory tips and expectations, a lot of which I'll be going through again today. But they're kind of right below VISTA. So I'm the one so Montana Campus Compact will be communicating with the state office. That's who we apply for funding for. They designate the end of service benefits like the education award and some other things, but really you don't have to worry so much about the state office. And after the state office is, you can see in that red circle, sponsoring organizations. So intermediary, that green house, that's me, that's Montana Campus Compact. And we help you set up your VISTA projects and recruit VISTAs, so you are considered a VISTA sub-site. And you're a sub-site supervisor. We just call you site supervisor. We keep it simple. And then, of course, below you is a VISTA member. And what I don't say here, well, I'll get into that in a little bit. So anyway, that's the basic structure of how this all works. And again, to reiterate, the state office, and then MPCC, and then you. That's kind of well, it's not so linear, but that's just kind of the structure of how that runs. The state office administers a federal grant, and they also conduct more of the pre-service orientation blend, so a training for VISTAs coming on that we'll get into a little later. Montana Campus Compact, from where we've obviously helped you set up a VISTA project. We've already helped you recruit a VISTA, or we're still working to recruit VISTAs for our August class. From this point on, we're going to help lead professional development trainings, including a pre-service orientation, which your VISTAs will come to before they enter service with you. And for those, we're going to provide lodging, food, transportation, etc. We're also going to hold monthly check-in webinars for VISTAs and 2 site visits in the fall and spring. And these, I think they're really fun. We get to check in, do a bit of monitoring, make sure that everyone's in compliance, but also to see your VISTA in action, to learn about what the impact is that they're making at your site, and also check in one-on-one with you and with them. We certainly are here as a resource for you and your VISTA. And we also, so we'll be in touch regularly throughout our year. We also host National Service Days, and we help, so our VISTA leader, which I'll get into their role a bit here, is going to host and hold National Service Days that your VISTA will be required to participate in. One's for 9/11, so September 11th, and then MLK Junior Day in January. And host site, so for you, your role is to provide the day-to-day supervision and oversight of your VISTA. And also to ensure that your VISTA serves a minimum of 40 hours a week. Technically, they're on call 24/7. We obviously don't expect you to work your VISTA for that amount of time, but it's not a 9-to-5 job. So basically that 24/7 means that if you have weekend activities, if you've got stuff going on in evenings, that your VISTA is expected to help out with those events. We also, your job is to ensure that there are the appropriate supplies and equipment for your VISTA, to ensure that they complete the monthly reporting requirements, the work plans, activity logs. These are all stuff we're going to get going. We'll go through more in detail in this webinar. And also for you to submit the VISTA's personal and medical leave each month. Other thing, I'll touch on that later too. And then to guide the VISTA through their VISTA assignment description. Okay, this isn't a great diagram. Our relationships are not that linear, but I thought I'd pull this in because I haven't really mentioned the role of the VISTA leader yet in this process. So just as you have a VISTA member at your site, I have a VISTA leader. And the VISTA leader acts primarily as a liaison between VISTAs and me, Montana Campus Compact. So they're the one reaching out to the VISTA when, oh, there's a monthly report due, pay your work plans due, we're having this training this date, and kind of coordinating those logistics around transportation and lodging, etc. So I will be your primary contact within the Montana Campus Compact world. So we'll be coordinating, the VISTA leader will be coordinating with your VISTA, and that's how it is, kind of the rundown of the structures here. Okay, so I definitely want to take some time to talk about your influence. Our strongest sites have supervisors who are fully engaged with their VISTA and with the VISTA project. So we would like you to take responsibility for the VISTA project. And that means to communicate regularly, to take time to meet weekly with your VISTA. We understand that you're busy and maybe that weekly supervision isn't always going to take place, but we really hope that you're going to set up a regular time to meet with your VISTA to check in about their VISTA assignment description, to see how they're doing on all different kinds of levels, both personally and professionally. And certainly to invest in their professional development, to mentor the VISTA, and to appreciate the purpose of VISTA, of what they're doing, which is indirect capacity building in this anti-poverty work. Okay, so a big piece of that success is, again, I keep talking about this VISTA assignment description. This is the backbone of a VISTA project. It's a position description for each VISTA. It describes their role, the overarching goal of their project, and it also outlines specific objectives and activities for the member service year. This is a document that you or someone in your office created when you applied for a VISTA with Montana Campus Compact. We also recently altered these VISTA assignment descriptions a little bit to fit in with our state requirements. So I asked you in an email to review this document, to make sure you give me your okay that you still agree with it. We basically included more of our performance measures in that VISTA assignment description for your VISTAs, just again to fit more into our compliance. One thing that I will also say about the VISTA assignment description is that it's certainly not static. We understand that circumstances change, that maybe you thought you had the funding fell through with some program that you were going to have your VISTA work on, etc. We just ask that if you do alter your VISTA assignment description, that you talk to us about it, and certainly that you talk to your VISTA about it so that everyone's on the same page. Okay, so VISTAs will be submitting monthly reports and they're based on those performance measures. So you filled out a sheet of performance measures in your application. These are, again, they're federal requirements. I think we all understand that numbers are big, that we have to report on certain things in order to continue to receive funding and to receive more funding in the future. So that's a big part of, like any grant, reports matter, and VISTAs will report monthly. The VISTA leader will be in touch with the VISTAs about when that's due, reminders, etc. Another big piece of our expectations for VISTAs, and we hope that you will help VISTA to know that these exist, is a VISTA's work plan. So VISTA's work plan, they'll complete this every month. They'll submit it to the VISTA leader, and we'll review it just to make sure that it does fit in with your overall VISTA assignment description that the VISTA is adequately serving. And we ask that you review this work plan with your VISTA. And in the first couple months, it'd be really helpful for you to sit down and help your VISTA design this work plan to really walk them through what's going to be their monthly task. So it's the task that will ultimately fulfill their VISTA assignment description. Again, feel free to ask questions throughout this process. I'm kind of going through a lot of things right now, so I'm happy to pause at any point. Hopefully this looks familiar. I also sent this out in an email. It's called Performance Measures Defined. It's a Google form. I think you need a Gmail to fill this out, and so if you don't have a Gmail, I can certainly copy and paste this into an email, and you can fill it out that way. These are the performance measures that you filled out in your application. You signified targets, so for each performance measure, and we want to know how you're going to collect that data. And really, we want to know so that your VISTA knows how to collect that data so that they can properly and adequately document that in their monthly reports. So I sent this out in there. I probably highlighted the data collection method section, and I would like for you to fill that out so that VISTA can review that with you at the start of their service, but then again every month as they're reporting on those performance measures. Another requirement of VISTAs are completing activity logs. VISTAs are going to receive a handbook, a physical handbook, and these activity logs are going to be in there. They're going to be filling, this is an example, this is just a segment right here on the screen about this activity log or what this looks like. And basically it's every single day they're filling out, it doesn't need to be an incredible detail, but the basics of what they're doing, their time. We don't keep track of time. Again, this is VISTA service is 24/7, but it's helpful in terms of for you to recognize, like, holy cow, my VISTA worked 50 hours this past week. Maybe maybe they can go home early some days. I mean, however you use Flex, that's up to you. But it's helpful for the VISTA to track their hours and also their personal and medical leave. VISTAs have personal leave, 10 days of personal leave and 10 days of medical leave throughout their service. We ask that they do not use that leave within the first 3 months of their service and the last 3 months of their service. We'll be letting them know about this, but we want you to be on the same page because you'll be signing off on these activity logs every month, and we'll review these in our site visits. And also, we want you, it'll be your responsibility as a site supervisor to record their personal and medical leave. But again, it'll be a Google form. You won't need a Gmail to fill this out. I will submit this every month to you. It's not something you have to remember necessarily, but you'll get an email from me or someone in my office about recording personal medical leave, and we just need that information for our office and also for, again, to be in compliance with the federal government. Just some prohibitions here. VISTAs are allowed to have outside employment. It does need to be approved by you and by me, by us, and we send that on to the state office. This is a great addition to VISTA. I know when I was a VISTA in 2011 and 12, there was we were not allowed to have outside employment, and this, I think, this is helpful for VISTAs because that living allowance is so low. However, it really emphasis that it cannot interfere with service. So if your VISTAs leaving at 2 p.m. or 3 p.m. to go to some other service site, and you don't think that's okay, that's not okay, and they will have to adjust their hours. There'll have to be a further conversation about that. If VISTAs are coming in with employment already solidified, again, you make sure that that's going to work for you, and we'll talk that through too. But they will need to fill out a form, and we'll go over this with the VISTAs as well. VISTAs can take classes. Full-time is prohibited, but they are permitted to take classes, and there's some courses kind of over, it's called VISTA Campus. So folks can receive college credit for class credit for classes that are offered through VISTA as well. And that's probably it for this. And definitely emphasize this because it's an election year. VISTAs are prohibited from participating in voter registration drives, etc. You can read through this, and again, the emphasis is while they're on duty. So if they cannot wear an AmeriCorps T-shirt to attend any of the above. Of course, we want them to vote. We want them, they can attend things, but just again, not on duty. So not as they're in service to be attending these events. Okay, other things that you should know is to help your VISTA is that you can assist in helping with housing. Housing is big, especially for people moving outside of Montana. In smaller communities especially, housing can be tricky. So please do help them find housing. You can also help with food or with gifts. You can take your VISTA out to lunch or dinner. We just ask that there's no direct transfer of cash between your VISTA and you. Of course, if there's a community member who gives your VISTA a gift card, I don't think you should take away the gift card from your VISTA. So there's going to be, there's some wiggle room there. But again, that direct transfer of gift cards or cash we do not allow. We welcome if you have, say if your staff or your office has staff-specific clothing, treat your VISTA as a staff and give them those same benefits, and also provide recognition for your VISTA. We would like you to introduce your VISTA as a VISTA rather than an employee. We ask them to create a VISTA signature on their email. Hopefully we're going to try to get some magnets or stickers that you can put in your office saying that you support AmeriCorps VISTA, you have a VISTA on site. I'm definitely helping to propel VISTA and what VISTAs do for the community. We are very appreciative of and recognize them as who they are. So we have a Montana Campus Compact pre-service orientation. And for the July class, that's next week. So before your VISTA comes on site with you, they'll be meeting me and my team in Helena. So July 25th to 27th, that's their first through third day of service that they'll be with us in Helena. For the August class, we're working on doing an in-person orientation in Missoula. We'll be in touch about that. And that'll again be the first few days of their service will be with Montana Campus Compact. So they'll head to you on July 28th or August 25th. So in our pre-service orientation, VISTAs are going to learn about Montana Campus Compact and VISTA mission and goals, our expectations and kind of those reporting requirements, the work plan requirements, the activity log, etc. Campus community partnerships, that's a big pillar of what we do and who we are, as well as poverty in Montana. A lot of folks are coming from out of state, and we'll provide an introduction to kind of a poverty report card, because what VISTA does is, again, it's that anti-poverty work. So tying that in, as well as some general leadership and communication style training. So as you can see, this is pretty broad-based. We are not going to be getting into specifically what your site is and what your VAD is. We rely on you to do that during your on-site orientation training. I emailed out a template for this, and I've gotten many back. I'll be following up with the rest of you soon, probably today, about completing this. We really want you to go through that document. There's a lot of things that you have to cover, including the VISTA assignment description, the backbone of a VISTA project. We really want you to walk through that document that you help create with them, and to go over, and it's detailed in that orientation training document, but really to help them understand what poverty is in your community, to orient your VISTA to the culture and community of your organization, and to begin fostering a strong relationship and regular communication. So setting up that weekly supervision meeting with them during these first few weeks will be instrumental in preparing your VISTA for a year of success. We also are hoping, and I highlighted this in the document, is to arrange meetings with your campus or your community partners, anyone who you think would be relevant to this project. Set up those meetings in those first couple weeks so your VISTA gets a good sense of who they'll be working with and what resources they have. And also, if your VISTA is going to be heavily focused on volunteer recruitment, conduct some relevant trainings on volunteer recruitment. We'll also be following up. We'll have a training in, I think, October or November, where we'll be screening VISTAs and what's going to be relevant to them to cover fundraising, grant writing, volunteer recruitment and training, facilitating meetings, etc. But anything that your VISTA is going to be focused heavily in, we want you to help them to develop that professional skill with them. We also want you to be creative and to have fun with your VISTA, to conduct some personality tests or communication styles, leadership styles, to really get to know your VISTA and also get to know your own supervision style through your different communication styles, leadership styles that you can relay to your VISTA to really just, again, set those stepping stones for a year of success. Most of your VISTAs will be coming from out of state. We've got a lot of Midwesterners, a lot of East Coasters coming in to serve with Montana. A lot of them don't have any connections in your community. So we really want you to help assimilate your VISTA to your community. We're going to be connecting your VISTA to other VISTAs, if there are any, in your community, whether through Montana Campus Compact or the other VISTA and AmeriCorps programs in your community. But we'd love for you to connect your VISTA to staff or community events. I know, for example, in Missoula, we have Out to Lunch in downtown tonight, some fun community events. Generally anything free or low cost because your VISTAs will be living in poverty for the most part. It will be helpful. And also, when I was a VISTA, I thought this was great. I did a community scavenger hunt. So I went around and my site supervisor basically gave me a list of people and places that I would go either just find in the community or have meetings with specifically. It's a great way to just get out and see what's going on in the community. That will really help ensure that the VISTA builds something outside of your VISTA project, which will be crucial in helping lead to their success. Okay, so there's a lot of trainings going on these first couple weeks. So we've got the Montana Campus Compact pre-service orientation. You've got your own on-site training orientation. There's also a pre-service orientation blend, and that's going to be run through the state office and through the larger VISTA world. So all VISTAs that are starting on July 25th nationwide will be participating in what's called a PSO Blend. In the past, there have been a PSO, it's called PSO Classic, so it's been an in-person training, kind of like our Montana Campus Compact training, to go over VISTA basics. We're going to be covering some of that in our own training, but again, it's just a little different this year, so it's new. I think it's a little scary for everyone, but we've got an outline here, and your VISTA is going to know what's going on. It's going to be 4 weeks of training, and it's a combination of web-based seminars. There's going to be on-site learning at your service site, and as well as some other online forums. And this is new to me, so I'm going to be learning alongside you about how this is going to work. So in order to prepare for this VISTA Blend, we want to make sure that hopefully you're already getting everything set up in place in terms of equipment for your VISTA, phone, computer, internet, etc. The web-based seminars for this VISTA Blend will take place via Cisco WebEx. So it'd be great if you could test out that meeting link to make sure that the computer you have for your VISTA is going to be able to run that webinar. And then also to support your VISTA and attending the webinars and any other completing the assignments, we'll also be working with your VISTA to make sure that is happening as well. But the more help we get from you in that process, the better success we'll have. And this is an outline. So that first webinar is going to be the first day of service. We're all going to watch that webinar and participate in that webinar in Helena and then in Missoula for the August meetup. The dates are going to be different, obviously, for the August start date, and I'll get those out to the August site supervisors. But it'd be helpful for you to put this in your calendar, to put it in your VISTA's calendar. The VISTAs, again, will have this information, but we want you to know about it too. Okay, so this is kind of our last communication pre-VISTA, but we've got a lot of things to look forward to in these coming months. I will be conducting a check-in call with you during your first couple weeks of service, of your VISTA service for the July class, and then first couple weeks for the August class as well. Our VISTA leader will conduct monthly webinars for your VISTA, and the first is going to be September 22nd at 10 a.m., and we hope that you'll join for that one as well. It'll be fun. It'll be a great opportunity to meet other VISTAs and supervisors in your community and around the state. As I mentioned, we're also conducting site visits, and that first site visit will be sometime in October. And of course, we'll be letting you know in advance about all these important dates and sending out schedules, and certainly training your VISTA and giving them a program calendar, et cetera. All this information that they'll share with you once they come on their site. This is an older slide from a prior webinar, but we think it's important to highlight and acknowledge national service. So when your VISTA comes on, to write a newsletter about it, take a photo, put them on your website. Again, mention that this is a VISTA that's coming on to serve with you for a year. Write a blog, send us a link. We love to hear about these things, about how VISTAs are engaging in their sites and in their communities, and we pass them on to for potential national press as well. Okay, and then Lacey is not here with me today. She's a program specialist, but I decided to put her phone number on there as well. In case we're here to help, we're here to be of service for you as you transition to a year of service with your VISTA. We definitely want to help ensure that this is a successful year and that it's a lot of fun for your VISTA and also for you. So I'd love to open it up for questions. If anyone has any questions right now, I'd love to hear them. You're still on mute, but you can unmute yourself and feel free to, again, to ask any questions. I know a few of you, I guess I will say as I'm waiting, but feel free to interrupt me. A few of you we're still working on recruiting a VISTA for you. Don't worry, we haven't forgotten about you. We're working hard as well. We've got a couple more weeks. We've got a couple interviews lined up, and we hope to be passing on more sites for you to interview and hopefully onboard. I'll just leave the line open for any questions. And I will have, I'm recording this webinar, so thanks, good question, Melissa. I will be sending this recording on, put it on a YouTube channel and send you the link to the recording so you can have for future use. Okay, well, if anyone wants to stick around and ask me any questions, that's great. Otherwise, I think that was pretty short and painless. There's a lot of information in these slides. I encourage you to go through them again and be in touch, again, with any questions you have. Happy last couple of days out of VISTA for you July class. We're looking forward to meeting your folks Monday through Wednesday. And we'll be in touch. Okay, thanks everyone. I'll stay on the line, but you're welcome. Feel free to leave. Thanks again for your time. I appreciate it.